Hello! Today we'll study modal verbs, obligation and necessity. In this video, we're going to look at 4 groups of modals that express obligation and necessity in their present and past forms. Let's begin. First, we begin with present obligation and necessity, to talk about something that is necessary, important, required, or obligatory in the present. We use the modals must, have to, and need to. We usually use must to talk about a personal obligation. I must get up early tomorrow. That means it's necessary and important for me to get up early tomorrow. That's also my decision. Jim has to take the bus to work. It's required for Jim to take the bus. He doesn't have many other options. She needs to feed the baby soon. It's necessary. We always use an infinitive after modal verbs. You can see this rule applies to all modals in these examples. To talk about necessity in the present, we can also use have got to, which is similar to have to. So instead of saying, I have to work tomorrow, we can say, I've got to work tomorrow. Or instead of saying, Terry has to leave soon, we can say, Terry's got to leave soon. Note that have got to is more informal than have to. For are, you, we, they, we use don't have to. And for he, she, it, we use doesn't have to. Similarly, we use don't need to for are, you, we, they, and doesn't need to for he, she, it. To express permission and say that something is permitted and allowed in the present, we can use be allowed to. You're allowed to use your books during the exam. That means it is allowed. You can use your books. To form sentences with be allowed to in the present, we need to use am, is, are. I am allowed to use the books. He is allowed to use them. We are allowed to use them. To make yes-no questions, we use am, is, are at the beginning. Am I allowed to smoke here? Yes, you are. No, you're not. Is he allowed to enter? Yes, he is. No, he is not. For WH questions, we use question words. When is she allowed to leave? To express that something is forbidden, not allowed, against the rules, or it's necessary that you do not do it, we can use mustn't or be not allowed to in present form. You mustn't park here. It's forbidden. I mustn't be late for the meeting. It's necessary that I'm not late. Be not allowed to. You're not allowed to talk during the exam. It's against the rules. Mustn't is the same for all subject pronouns. I, you, we, they, he, she, it mustn't go. To form sentences with be not allowed to, we need to use am, is, are in the present form. I'm not allowed to talk. He is not allowed to talk. We are not allowed to talk. Now, we'll look at how we use these modals in the past form. So, to say that something was necessary, important, required, or obligatory in the past, we have 2 forms, had to and needed to. I had to take my lunch to school when I was a child. That means it was necessary, maybe because lunch wasn't served by the school, so I had to take it myself. She needed to use antibiotics before getting her tooth pulled out. It was necessary for her to use antibiotics before the procedure. Had to and needed to are the same for all subject pronouns. I, you, we, they, he, she, it had to or needed to. To make yes-no questions in the past, we use did at the beginning. Did I have to leave? Yes, you did. No, you didn't. Did she need to leave? Yes, she did. No, she didn't. To make WH questions in the past, we use question words at the beginning. What did you have to do? Why did she need to go? To say that something was not necessary in the past, we use didn't have to and didn't need to. I didn't have to wait in the queue because I had a VIP pass. It wasn't necessary for me to wait. It rained a lot, so Sam didn't need to water the plants. It wasn't necessary for her to water the plants. Didn't have to and didn't need to are the same for all subject pronouns. I, you, we, they, he, she, it didn't have to, or I, you, we, they, he, she, it didn't need to. Finally, to say that something was permitted and allowed in the past, we use be allowed to in the past form, so we use was, were allowed to. We can use could to say something was permitted in the past. Was, were allowed to. When we were children, we were allowed to play outside until dinner. Could. We could eat sweets once a day. That means we were allowed to eat sweets once a day. To express that something was forbidden in the past, we use wasn't, weren't allowed to. I wasn't allowed to run in the house. My parents didn't let me run in the house. For I, he, she, it, we use was allowed to, and for we, you, they, we use were allowed to. I was allowed to eat sweets. They were allowed to eat sweets. Could is the same for all pronouns. I, you, we, they, he, she, it could eat sweets. To give them negative meaning, we use wasn't allowed to for I, he, she, it, and weren't allowed to for we, you, they. He wasn't allowed to run. You weren't allowed to run. Now it's your turn. Please check the link below for extra practice. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.